What's that jersey in the background, Jillian?
It's like my it's my winter league, like 12-year-old indoor soccer shirt. What's up, everybody? Welcome into the call up. Spirit Fingers, Jillian Sakovitz, alongside my best friend in the whole wide world, Susanna Collins.
Hi, love.
How are you?
Big hugs. I'm good. I love, if you guys are watching this, Jillian, we kind of didn't mean to, but we sort of coordinated our outfits and we look very Thanksgiving ready, I believe.
Yeah. Ready to, I don't know, what do you do this time of year? Break some leaves, bake a turkey,
eat a copious amount of food, all of that.
Cry in a corner,
Mm-hmm.
all those things. But Suze, one thing that has kept us just pumped up about life is the Audi 2020 MLS Cup playoffs. They have been bananas. They're in full swing. But the headline,
Give it to me,
has been our playoff brackets
What?
are perfect.
Jillian and I have perfect brackets intact, and I believe, Jillian, I'm going to say this on the record, I think that makes us the smartest people at MLSsoccer.com. Thank you very much. Mic drop right there. I mean, we picked the Dallas over Portland upset. We picked Orlando over NYCFC. All of it.
Also,
we
didn't talk about this.
No, we didn't.
Together.
We didn't. We did not consult.
All of the tactics and the scheming that we've seen this year by these clubs, and we just thought of this. We really didn't talk to each other. We thought of this on our own, and we'll see. My just a little spoiler. My final is Seattle and the Philadelphia Union. Mm-hmm. Who's your final, Suze?
Oh gosh, I went weird. I have Orlando winning over LAFC in the final.
So here's the big news tonight. One of our and we are taping this on Tuesday. One of us will be perfect tomorrow, and one of us will not be.
And one of us will fall.
I have the Sounders beating LAFC.
Let's just, let's just enjoy this moment where right now we are on top, sister.
Heck yes. Someone else that is just on top of the world is the lovely U.S. soccer legend and now co-owner, manager of USL side San Diego Loyal, Landon Donovan.
Landon freaking Donovan was on the pod. I'm still a little bit like, how did this happen, Jill? Feels big.
Can I throw you under the bus a little bit?
Yeah,
you got a little emotional at the end of the interview. She did, and it was she got a little teary-eyed, and like a good friend, I laughed at her, and she was just moved that in this moment of what's been a tough year, what's been a tough week. And MLS is, we still got the kindness and the respect of someone like Landon Donovan. And I thought we had a really unique conversation with him. We also helped him set his Thanksgiving table.
Yes.
And I think you're really going to enjoy it and you're going to learn a thing or two.
It was lovely. And I think, Jill, one of the reasons I got so emotional was just that, Landon Donovan has been in our lexicon for so long. I have been a Landon Donovan fan for years. And
absolutely.
for him to be as gracious as he was, I mean, even just agreeing to come on, the fact that he sees us as colleagues and comrades and respects our work, and he was so gracious and open in the interview, and it just those moments don't get lost on either of us. And I think that's why I got just a little emotional, because it was like, holy crap, if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be hosting a podcast with my best friend and we're getting Landon Donovan on the show, I'd have been like, cool, that's fun. That's a really fun dream. So
that sentence, my holiday season is made, Susanna Collins. Well put, my friend. And don't you ever apologize for being as earnest and thankful as you are. That's one of the things I love about you so much. Something else I love that I saw this week, let's get into here for this.
Yay!
You sent this to me, a photo of Raul Ruidiaz of the Seattle Sounders. And I thought when you sent it to me, and I'll let you tell the people what it really is, I thought he was signing a bunny through a fence. I thought like a kid came to train. I mean, that wouldn't even be COVID friendly, but I thought someone was asking him to sign
sign their
bunny.
pet. Like, this is my pet bunny, Raul Ruidiaz, please
And you
autograph
sign
it.
its
No, so
brown
the
fur.
actual story, Jill, is that Raul Ruidiaz saved a little bunny that was trapped in a soccer net. And he cut it out, and this little bunny was saved. And you and I love, I mean, we know we are animal lovers. We love all the animal content. And so I sent this to you, and you were like, wait, what is going on?
Thought he was
And
signing the
then
bunny.
but we could not be more here for Raul Ruidiaz being kind to the animals and
So-
saving a bunny.
Who deserves to win, Seattle or LAFC?
I know,
Okay.
I know,
Bunny
I know,
bunny savers. Yeah.
I know. Okay, moving on. This one, oh, this just made me
I found it
chuckle
confusing.
so darn hard. So the New England Revolution beat Montreal in the play-in rounds to advance to round one. Now, after the game, we always get these amazing photos in the locker room, the guys
shirtless
celebrating,
photos.
shirtless, exactly. So one of these photos surfaced on Twitter, and if you look closely, it was like, wait, there's one guy who's kind of not really looking at the camera, and that it just doesn't really fit. Matt Turner, y'all, was photoshopped. It was his headshot, literally his headshot from the team site, photoshopped into this group picture, like behind, like, oh, we're not going to notice this. He's the only one kind of looking off camera. And it was so blatantly photoshopped, but I'm crying laughing because I'm like, number one, like, who decided to do this? Number two, where's Matt Turner?
You know
What are you doing, bro? Where'd you go?
He is a call up alum. We had him on not too long
Yes.
ago. Great interview. Learn about him. There's few people that are having a good year this year. He's one of them.
Yeah.
How could he miss that picture?
How do you miss that picture? What are you doing?
What are we? Let's guess.
Getting some treatment?
I'm gonna say he was going to the bathroom.
Okay, I think it's either going to the bathroom or getting some treatment done, because those are the only two logical explanations.
New England Revolution, we need you to get in touch before our next episode and confirm where the heck is
also
Matt
who
Turner.
photoshopped it? Who did it? I want to know. Next one. This is great. Love this one, Jill. Could not be more here for it. So LAFC guys were traveling to Seattle for their playoff matchup against the Sounders, wearing masks, obviously being responsible, but not just any masks. Angel City masks, baby. The LAFC guys were repping Angel City FC, and it just kind of warmed my heart. I love the cross promo here. I love that they're getting behind the gals. That was just really, really cool. I was like, yep.
How long until there is a Angel City LAFC romance? Like a power couple.
Forget masks. That I am here for. That I am here for. Oh, Jill.
2021. Big year.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen.
And time now for our epic AT&T 5G call to the field. Been on our list for quite some time. U.S. soccer legend, the man himself, Landon Donovan.
What?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon, I guess, for you, technically.
Yes.
Good morning, Landon Donovan. We have been in quarantine now for quite some time. We're going to have a lot of fun with you. We have a lot to talk about. But one thing we like to talk to our guests a lot about is give us your best quarantine story. You're a father of three. Like, I know you've got something for us.
I don't know if they're, does
best is a strong word.
Does it have to be good? Because there's a lot of bad ones.
No, we like bad.
Let me think this through. Best quarantine story. Probably it happens daily with my wife wanting to kill me because our kids are driving her crazy. It's probably the best quarantine story that most people can relate to. The best is probably when it first happened. It wasn't quarantine story necessarily, but we went to Seattle to play Tacoma for our second game of the season. And about an hour before kickoff, they told us that there were no fans in the stadium and that our season was likely to get canceled. So we were trying to figure out in that moment, do you tell your team that? Do you not? But then the way social media is, everybody's going to find out anyway.
Yep.
But then you don't want them hearing that an hour before a game. So I'm sure everyone has had much worse experiences, or a lot of people have had much worse experiences with this. But being a first year head coach and trying to figure out how to navigate that was certainly interesting.
Man, this was quite the introduction for you into coaching. Like, hello, welcome to
Yeah,
2020, Landon. Here's your
yeah.
team. Just
I think
kidding.
every coaching course or person I talk to never mentioned that you might go through a global pandemic and have your season
Right.
start and stop over and over. So I think we were all trying to navigate it and figure out how we how we try to succeed in some way.
Makes
Landon,
perfect sense.
obviously, yeah, we're going to get to this in a second, but for those of you listening, he's the co-founder, vice president of soccer operations and manager for USL Championship side, the San Diego Loyal. We want to learn more about that in just a moment, but we're going to have a little bit of fun. Suze, I'll let you kick us
Yeah,
off.
so these are kind of just like stream of consciousness, Landon.
Fun.
Sort of the first things that pop into your head. So we're
This
just
is
going to
where I
kind
get in
of
trouble. Okay.
run through. Yeah,
Go ahead.
exactly. This is our
You've
brand.
listened.
Very on brand for us. Okay. So what is the most common thing that fans say to you when they spot you out in public?
Good question. They almost always say, "I remember where I was when you scored that goal against Algeria." And everybody has such cool stories around it. So it's really neat for me 10 years on to hear what people were experiencing in that moment. So that's
Mhm.
almost always I hear that comment.
Yep.
Is there one that stands out to you that someone says where they were and you're like, okay.
Well, the best was a few years after that. So I'm guessing maybe 2013 or so. I was at training with the Galaxy, and after training, our PR person came up to us. I think Brendan came up to me and said, "Hey, there's a couple guys here who were at that game in South Africa against Algeria." And I said, "Wow, how cool is that?" So these two guys walk up and they're holding a ball. And it turns out right after the whistle blew, the final whistle, I kicked the ball into the stands, which was really dumb. Like I should have held on to the ball. So
Oh,
stupid. Usually baseball players, when they catch the final out, they put it in their back
Put
pocket
in their
and like,
pocket.
and
Yep.
I was the idiot who kicked the ball. But these two guys caught the ball. And so they had held it all these years. So they brought it and I got to sign it. And it was a really cool moment.
Did they wait? They didn't give it to you though, did they?
No, no, no. It's theirs. Well, they actually offered. In fairness, the guy said,
Did
"Would you
they
like to
really?
keep it?" And I said, "No, no, no. You keep it." But
That's
it was really cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool.
That's an incredible story. Oh, I love that. Goosebumps.
last movie that made you cry.
I watched like a short video, like a Facebook video the other day that made me cry, but I'm trying to remember what it was. Last movie that I cry a lot. Hate to say it.
Us too.
Actually, I don't hate to say it. Probably. I know I cried during Into the Wild, but that was like 10 years ago now, so it had to be
Man,
sooner than that.
that one's like
We can keep
That's
that
deep.
one.
But
right
Random
into the-
Facebook movies.
if you get like a good heartfelt like little Facebook video of
Kids and pets.
like a kid, yeah, like a kid coming
Puppies,
home,
babies.
or a military dad or mom coming home to their
Oh, a
kid, then I'm just
surprise.
like,
Oh, stop. Yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm done.
It's over.
I'm done. I started watching Frozen 2 the other day on
You cried during
Disney Plus.
Frozen
I
2?
weep during like Disney movies for whatever reason, just like
Suze is a Disney
slay
freak.
they slay me. And
That's
I'm just
awesome.
like, oh man, yeah, listen, I think we're all hyper emotional in quarantine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, totally.
Who is the scariest opponent that you ever faced, Landon?
Scariest.
Scariest.
Like meaning their face is scary,
A-
or
anything, just someone where it was like, oh,
Like
man,
he's gonna
really?
lay me
the
out.
scariest ever was, I won't use the phrase he used, but in the World Cup against Mexico, one of the players um, basically said, "I'm gonna do harm to your family in a moment," and that was like, you talk about crossing the line in trash talk. And I just had this moment where I was like, "Whoa, this is a little too deep for a soccer game." So that was
Yeah.
a scary moment because that makes you stop and think about it. Like, oh, it's interesting.
Okay. Huh, that took a turn.
Yes, it did.
We told you it'd be fun. Here we are asking you about people that are threatening
There
your
you go.
life. Okay. Here's a good one. A favorite moment in your career.
I have to say, any of the moments winning a championship are really special. I think conventional wisdom might say that Algeria goal, but
Yeah.
when you culminate a season or a tournament with winning a trophy and then getting to celebrate in the locker room with champagne and a trophy and all, like those moments all stand out to me much more than the goals. So those are the moments I really loved.
Love that. Great answer. Okay, so we're obviously all in quarantine, dreaming, fantasizing about our next vacation. When we are allowed to do that, Landon Donovan, where are you going? Where's your dream vacation spot?
100% we're going to Cabo. So for
Ah,
us on the West Coast, Cabo is like your Bahamas or
yeah, it's a
Jamaica or
short flight.
right.
Short flight for you.
So for us, it's less than 2 hours. So we were planning February, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen at this point. So I'm guessing maybe, well, it might be the end of next year because if our season starts up and I'm not able to go, that would be such a bummer. But
Yeah,
we love going to Cabo, so that will definitely be the place.
awesome.
Who is your favorite teammate of all time?
Good question. It's really hard to pick one. Um,
You can rattle off 3
There
if
were
you want.
3 of us at the Galaxy who spent a lot of time together, got into a lot of trouble together. Mike McGee, Omar Gonzalez, and Todd Donovan. So you can only imagine the variety of
Mm.
intellect there with a Stanford grad and then someone like myself who didn't graduate high school. Mike McGee and Omar. So it was a fun crew.
Mike McGee is a wild man.
Mike
Yeah.
McGee is a legend.
He is an absolute legend.
Oh,
I have stories that I can't tell, but when I was living in
likewise.
Chicago, Mike McGee was sort of known in amongst the nightclub circuit. Like it was
Oh, yeah?
it was a thing. And
Mike's the man.
man, he's such a good dude too. I love him. I
When I
love
grow
him.
up, I want to be Mike. That is
know,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
He's the coolest. He literally is the coolest. I like this one. Landon, who is the most famous person in your phone?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably. Well, I think David Beckham is probably one of the most famous
Yeah.
people in the world. But
Man.
in my household, growing up, my dad's Canadian, so he grew up in Nova Scotia, and hockey is like all we did was watch hockey growing up.
Yep.
So having
Do you
Wayne
have Wayne
Gretzky,
Gretzky?
Damn it!
yeah,
Oh my
so
God.
You
that's
have
cool.
Wayne Gretzky in your phone.
Holy crap. That's
I
incredible.
mean, I think it is. He could be lying. It could be someone else. But I put Wayne Gretzky for the name, so who knows?
Wow.
Do you golf, Landon?
I like to golf. Yes.
You should golf. Have you golfed with Wayne Gretzky?
Why is he good?
No, I don't. I think he's decent.
Yeah.
But I just have read. I forgot if it was an athletic article that Wayne Gretzky and Charles Barkley like to golf together, and I think
Wow,
to
that's so
myself of
bizarre.
how much I'd love.
What?
And there's a joke. I forget what Chuck calls him, but it's something like he calls him like the pretty good one, like something just so shady. And I was like, if I could think of
That's
2
awesome.
people I'd love to golf with, it'd be those
Yeah,
2.
that would be fun.
I think
That
you
would
got
be
to get in
amazing.
on that.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
We could create a foursome. Who would be the 4th one? So it'd be Chuck,
Oh, well, yeah, we're out.
Let's
Chuck,
go.
Wayne, Landon, and
Let's think of a different sport.
yeah, let's
We could go
go.
baseball or football.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Brady.
There you
There
go.
it is. There
Well,
it
there's
is.
that
I mean, what
special
a
at the end of the
dream.
week.
Wow.
Okay, so who's the most famous person in your guys' phone?
I think
We
you are
just had this
now. Yeah, I think it's. I
Stop
literally
it.
just said that. I was like, I'm like, you guys. I'm just casually
No.
texting Landon Donovan. So that kind of wins it for me. Yeah, you're it,
Before
man.
you jumped on, Landon, I turned to Susan. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll text him." And I go, "You think he's the most famous person in your phone now?" And she's like, "For sure."
I would say after Mike McGee.
After Mike McGee,
Yeah.
I do have
always,
Mike McGee. in
always
my
after
phone.
Mike McGee.
Yeah, exactly.
Landon, you're wearing so many hats right now in your sort of post playing career, you know, with your involvement with the San Diego Loyal. You're the vice president of soccer operations, you're an owner, you are now the manager of this team. And I just thinking about it, I'm curious what you see is the biggest difference between Landon Donovan as a player and Landon Donovan as a coach.
Well, as you can see, coaching has made me lose even a lot more hair. It is not what you would call an easy experience. But I really so yes, all these sort of titles and roles, but in the end, I'm responsible for the team every day. So putting the team together and then ultimately making the decisions with my staff as to who plays, etc. But I really, really love being on the field every day with these young men and trying to have a positive impact on their lives. And that can mean a lot of things. For some players, it's just about soccer because they have good home life, uh, good relationships, they're happy at home. But for a lot of the players, it's helping them navigate a tricky lifestyle. I know there's a lot of glamour and around being a professional athlete, but it's not easy for a lot of these guys, and there's a lot of things they deal with. So that is a big burden and responsibility, but one that I really like. I went from being really selfish most of my teens and 20s to now being unbelievably selfless with that group of young men, and then also having 3 kids at home. So you start to learn that like nothing nothing is about you anymore.
Wow, that's such a good way to put it. I guess, we're going to talk in this next question about, age and experience and making tough decisions. Obviously, you made headlines twice this year over things that you probably wish maybe
Yeah.
didn't happen. You forfeited a point when a racial slur was used on the field. You guys were in a game where there was playoff implications and a homophobic slur was used towards one of your players, and you guys called off the game. I mean, that's a tough decision. You said, athletes, they're humans first, but still, that's a tough call to make as a manager and the person that's leading this team. Do you feel like that those decisions that you made this year that were so courageous and made headlines, that managers, whether it's USL, MLS, or bigger, that all managers can make those calls and they feel like they can make those calls without being afraid of what the powers that be are going to say and sticking up for what's right? You did it, but do you feel like that's something in soccer that everyone can do?
I'm in a unique position and situation where this is not, I've been very fortunate in my life and career to have achieved many things I wanted to make enough money where this isn't something that I have to do. So I'm in a unique situation where I was in position to do, and it wasn't me in the end, it was the players, but
Mhm.
to help them understand what I felt was the right thing to do in that moment, not worried about my job or the playoffs. And part of that too is, and a lot of coaches will tell you this, you're only as brave as your ownership allows you to be, right? And so in that moment at halftime, our owner, Andrew Vasiliadis, who's a native San Diegan, loves San Diego, wants to be buried in the San Diego Loyal jersey, said, "Whatever you guys decide to do, I will support you." And so I could imagine a lot of owners in that moment saying, "Don't you guys dare walk off the field. The playoffs are at stake. There's even though it's USL, it's not MLS or Champions League or the World Cup, saying there's a lot at stake and I don't want you doing that." But he said, "I will support you guys." So that made it possible to be brave. And in the end, sometimes the hardest thing and the right thing are the same, right? And it wasn't easy for any of us, mostly for Colin Martin in the second game. You have to remember, he also felt guilty. He felt guilty that we
Yeah.
didn't have the opportunity to win the game and go to the playoffs. So, no different than probably an abusive relationship. When someone's used to being treated that way, they start to just get on with it and think it's not that big of a deal. But two, if you actually say something, then you feel guilty about it. And so there was a lot of time spent afterwards to make sure that he felt supported, our team felt supported, and that they did the right thing. Ultimately, it really is just a soccer game. I know there's a lot at stake. I know it's people's livelihoods, but
Mm.
I hope that the message those young men sent to the rest of the country, and in some cases the rest of the world, was an important one.
Landon, are you surprised that we're still seeing these levels of racism and homophobia in the game?
Um, for me, so I live in California. You guys
Mm-hmm.
in New York, right? So
Yep.
I don't see it often,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't hear it almost ever. It's not a part of our culture here in California, especially in Southern California near the coast. We just don't hear it. Now, I will say, at times when I've traveled to different parts of the country, I have seen it and I have heard it, but it's just not something that ever comes across our mind. So when it happened in the game, it was quite shocking the first time with Elijah that
Mhm.
that word was still being used. And then when it happened again with Colin, that was more of a cultural thing because it was
Uh-huh.
from a Jamaican player, and in his native language. I know the term very well. I've heard Jamaicans say it over and over. I don't think he's homophobic. I don't think he was meant in that way, but nevertheless, it's not a word that we can just accept in our society. And I had a lot of people, I had a very good friend reach out and say, did you guys really need to walk off the field? Was it that big of a deal? It's just a word. And I thought about it for a while and I realized that your words influence your actions, right? And then your
Mhm.
actions become your behavior, and your behavior then becomes your belief. So over time, you start to believe that it's okay to treat someone that way. And I just don't agree with that. Maybe other people do, but I don't agree that you should be able to treat people that way. So
Yeah, well said. Well, thank you for doing that. I know my mouth
Yeah.
dropped when I was like, well, you saw it the first time and you were stunned, and then you saw it the second time, you're like, it just showed how prevalent it is. And I mean, yeah, you hear guys say stuff, but I'm on the sidelines and I'm like,
I
if that's what you
also
hear on the sidelines, how bad is it in the locker room or in out on the field?
I
So
think
right.
too, so often, Landon, like, we do forget that athletes are humans, like
Hmm.
they are human beings first. And I think for you to kind of make the call that humanity matters more than the actual game, the actual competition, is such an important message. And so I think, Jill and I are we're really thankful that you did that. And
Well,
yeah.
thank you. And it's important to remember too that in the heat of the moment, things happen. Like
Hmm.
nobody wanted to ruin anybody's career or life. We're just trying to say that this is
Sure.
you have to have some level of consciousness and awareness to not cross that line.
let's talk a little bit about like celebrity ownership. Obviously, it's kicked up a notch since your playing days. You know, you look around USL and celebrity ownership, and you see yourself, Charlie Davies, Stu Holden, Tim Howard. Then in MLS, you got Steve Nash, Will Ferrell, Sierra, and Russell Wilson. Like the names keep on coming.
Right.
What are some of the pros and cons to that? You know, it's cool for the press release, but what do you see as the key of that ownership or that part ownership?
Well, I'll tell you, being a part of the ownership side during a global pandemic is a con in every way. It is not enjoyable. I would also add Demarcus Beasley in Fort
Yes.
Wayne, Matthew McConaughey in Austin.
Yes.
Um, I I think the intrigue is for all of us to have a real influence on what's happening, right? In these cases in our communities, right? So Charlie in New Hampshire, Bees in Fort Wayne, Matthew McConaughey in Austin, people that feel like they can have a real impact. And so that for me is very enjoyable. It is not easy, right? And I have
Mhm.
so much respect for someone like Phil Anschutz, who maybe before you guys were even born was holding up MLS almost single-handedly, and to
Mm,
a point where the league could have gone away. I mean, the league we see today, people have no idea that there was in 2001 a very real chance for the league to fold, and Phil Anschutz just dug in, and he was continuing to lose money, but he believed, and now we see what we see today. So it is certainly not easy, but it is a really enjoyable challenge, and I think people want to have say in what happens with their club and their franchise and their city, and this is a way to do it.
Landon, another thing that we've seen is the emergence of women ownership
Hmm.
groups, and especially in Los Angeles with Angel City FC. I
Yeah,
mean, it is a who's who of
For real.
owners in that
it's
group.
insane.
It's
I know,
insane. It
it's
literally
insane.
is insane. But as you are now a girl dad, and I
I am.
just think like for you with having that perspective now, and you see we've seen it in St. Louis with the majority ownership group there, Los Angeles. What does that mean to you? Why do you think
Yeah.
this is good for the game?
Well, first of all, wow, I can't believe it's been almost 3 weeks now. But we also just elected a female vice president, right? Which is so cool. So my daughter's not old enough yet to understand what that means. She's almost 2, but I just think it says a lot about our society that we are uh, capable of not only not like an obligatory, hey, we will put a black person here, or we
Mhm.
will offer a job to a female here, but in a really meaningful way that matters. And I've always said, I've always said, I would much prefer every leadership country in this, or leadership position in this country, to be held by a woman, because the ego is out of it, and there's no pride or machismo involved, right? They're just trying to do what's right. So I'm very happy for them. Shannon McMillan, who lives here in San Diego, is a small part of that ownership group in Angel City too. So she's really excited about
Yeah, we can't wait. I cannot wait.
it.
Cannot wait for that to get going.
Landon, 157 caps for the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, MLS legend, household name for so many growing up. 2 questions, though. If you had nothing to do with soccer, what would Landon Donovan be? Like, what career would you take on? And then on that note, is there anything you're going to take on next?
That's a great question. I have no idea, because I was so from the time I was 14, when I started going through the ODP process, Olympic Development Program.
Mhm.
I went on this like fast track to the youth national team, and I didn't even have time to think about what else I might do. It's all I did growing up was play soccer, and it's all I could sort of fathom at that time. So I honestly have no idea, and that's a really daunting thing to think about, because if it had gone bad, I don't know what I would have done, and I would not have been nearly as happy or joyous as I was during my career. So I was fortunate to go on the path I did. As far as what's next, I really love, I still love being a part of the game, and I want to be a part of the game in
Yeah,
some
you
way.
can feel it. Mhm.
It's my, I guess it's my avenue to help people and really have a positive impact on people. So I'm loving what I'm doing here. I don't, it's hard to say what the future might hold. I am naturally ambitious and competitive. So, having the opportunity to grow this and potentially um, consider a different job one day might be enjoyable too. But right now, this is a really fun project, and there's so much involved. We just spoke to 3 16-year-olds yesterday who were going to bring into our first team next year, who are young San Diegans. And I remember being 16 and going to Germany, and knowing what that was. So having the ability to help them now, and help them at the beginning of their career and make an impact on their lives is really enjoyable too. So there's a lot here. There's a lot to do.
Yeah, you're
But
busy.
I'm very busy, but I am ambitious now, and I'm really enjoying this. So if I'm end up being any good at this and opportunities come, then I'll certainly listen.
Scratching the surface. Let's talk. I know this is not going to be a terribly fun topic, but the LA Galaxy, obviously a team that is near and dear to your heart. And you've
Yeah.
said it's been pretty difficult to kind of watch what has transpired with the club over the past year. And you said something specifically that just kind of like got me right in the heart. You said the LA Galaxy have lost their soul. They've lost the soul of this club. And so my question for you is, how do you go about restoring the soul of a club? Where do you even begin?
Suze, we promised Landon fun
I
on this
know, but this is important.
No, it's a
It's a
great
great
question.
question. It's a great question. Um, so what I learned this year, and what you saw at the end of the year with our team walking off the field, that doesn't just happen in that moment,
Yeah.
right? That's a progression of a team that feels there are things important to them. They're living by values that they believe in. Of course, they're competitive and they want to win, and that's what we all do, right? But they showed that they were going to stand up for one of their teammates in a meaningful way.
Mhm.
And to me, that's more powerful than any kick of a soccer ball. And that's the type of soul and culture that you ideally want to create. Now the players have to buy into it, right? So we can talk about it all we want. We can try to explain to them, but they have to buy into it. That's a little bit of what I see lacking, not only in the Galaxy, but in quite a few teams around soccer in the world, right? It's hard to get it right, and it's hard to get a culture that's right. Um, how do you restore it? A lot of hard work. There has to be a level of care about the club that's genuine. And I I don't mean to say that guys don't care when they're on the field, but it's different when you feel like you're really a part of it.
Mhm.
Like you really like you feel what the fans feel, you feel what the coach feels, you feel what the president and the ownership feel when there's a loss. And I don't get that sense right now. The good news is it's fixable, right? It is fixable, and it's a difficult process, but I think they can get it right. And obviously, for those of us who care so much, it's hard to watch. So I hope sooner rather than later.
Landon, the end of the year MLS awards are upon us. The Landon Donovan MVP award has yet to be crowned. First off, is it weird to have like the best award named after
Yes,
you?
very.
But very cool. Two, I'm a big person of if you get anything, if you accomplish anything in 2020, like you don't get an asterisk, you get an exclamation point. Who is that person for you in MLS in 2020? Who is the Landon Donovan MVP?
Well, let me ask you guys first. Who do you got?
I have Pozuelo, Alejandro
Mhm.
Pozuelo of Toronto. I think that,
Jillian.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I felt like this one was really tough. I think I had Alejandro Pozuelo too in my vote.
I think that makes three of us then.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's
And you know he wasn't even in the top 25 jersey sales.
She's so mad at
I'm
this.
so bitter over this.
you know, don't correlate, right? Like how you play versus the jersey sales.
I couldn't wrap my head. Oh, you know why I'm bitter about this? We had to play a game where we each had to go one by one to the 25, and I got out on my guess of that Pozuelo
You
was.
guessed
He
it.
should have been. He should have
Yeah,
been.
I got knocked out of the game, and I'm like, so the front runner for MLS MVP is not a. Buy some jerseys, Toronto.
What we
the heck?
realized is that Canadians don't buy jerseys. There was no
Why
Canadian.
is that? Is
I
that just
don't
not a
know.
thing in
I
Canada?
Is
don't
Wayne
know.
Gretzky not a jersey sale?
I
Like
don't
what?
know. They'll buy hockey.
Yeah.
They'll buy the hockey
Trying
sweaters.
to-
They don't buy soccer
Interesting.
kits. I don't know.
Pozuelo
You
was
would have
my vote.
You would have thought in Toronto that those would be leaving the
Right?
shelves
Or
quick,
like
right?
Josie? Like Josie Altidore. Nobody's
Right.
buying a Josie Altidore jersey?
Maybe
What
they
the
already
hell?
Probably the
have 'em.
Americans.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. So on that note, so we're all three in for Pozuelo. This is I assuming you've been watching the wackiness that has been the 2020
Oh,
MLS
yeah.
Cup playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking nuts.
Insane.
Like literally such good entertainment. But do you if we're gonna put you on the spot, if you had to pick a team who will be lifting the cup at the end of all of this, who do you think it's gonna be in 2020?
Well, this could go out the window tonight.
Yeah.
It's hard to bet against Seattle.
Yeah.
Now, LAFC could absolutely beat them tonight, and that could
Yep.
be out the window. But it's hard for me to bet against Seattle. I want to take a moment though to congratulate Tim Melia, who Tim was with the Galaxy a long time ago, and early on, and I would tell him this to his face, he was not a good goalkeeper, right? And so he was with the team, but he was young, so he had something about him where he was improving. But when he left, I would have never said he's going to be a starting goalie. Just if I were just being honest, and it just shows how dumb I am. The guy has been, forget about the other night, but he's just been like such an example for people that people develop at different ages. And just because it doesn't happen early doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just keep working, be a good person. He's a great human being, and your opportunities come. So I was ecstatic. I've never seen 3 penalties saved in a row. I've seen 3 missed in a row, but never 3 saved in a row. I was so happy for him.
Same.
It's a good shout.
Unbelievable.
Who do you have? My final is Seattle Sounders taking on the Philadelphia Union, and I have the Union winning it. Which I have to admit, mid-season I was like, "Oh, I know how this goes. The Union, they're gonna go down, then they'll barely make the playoffs." And I was so wrong. I was so wrong. So I went all in on the Philadelphia Union.
Yeah, so I wonder if sometimes there are teams that are built for the regular season, but they're not built for the playoffs. I don't know yet if Philly are built for the playoffs. They don't have the experience of winning. So again, I know it would be the most boring ever if Seattle and Toronto played again. But when you get in these games, experience is so important for knowing that one play or 2 plays make the difference. So I would love to see Philly make it though, because I think Jim Curtin has done such a great job, and they've earned it. So we'll see what happens. I would say don't count out Columbus. Caleb's been fantastic, and that, I mean, you talk about a team with an identity. They know exactly who they are, and they play to their strengths, and they're a very good team.
And he's done it before. Suze, who's your final? Orlando and
I have Orlando. I picked
Orlando.
Orlando winning the whole thing. I went weird. I was
she's
like
drunk.
2020.
No, just
I was
kidding.
like 2020. So I will tell you guys right now, though, my bracket is perfect.
So
right
is
now.
mine.
I
Don't
had
get carried away.
Dallas upsetting Portland. I had
So did
Orlando beating NYCFC. So like, we just don't know. It's 2020, and weird stuff can happen.
Amen. And
Landon
credit, real quick, credit to Luchi Gonzalez too. I mean, at the end of the game, there were like 5 or 6
Oh my
North
God.
Texas players on the field, and Ricardo Pepi scores. And
17 years old.
Yeah,
17.
I love that. I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that in our
Unbelievable.
game.
Landon, before we let you go, Thanksgiving is around the corner, and we want to set Landon Donovan's Thanksgiving smorgasbord spread. We're going to set your
Oh yeah. Okay, great.
We're going to set your table right now.
Oh, you're setting it.
You're setting it.
Oh, okay, I'm setting it.
You're setting it.
Great.
First off, cooking or catered?
Catered. We have a chef coming.
Heck yeah.
This is first world problems.
That sounds like my kind of thing.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I'm coming in 2021.
All
There
right,
you go.
What are your top 3 Thanksgiving dishes in order?
Okay, so this is not a Thanksgiving dish, but my wife said she's gonna order like a really nice cheese plate.
I mean,
love, right?
Oh God, a good cheese plate.
Does that just melt a girl's heart?
Oh,
Yeah.
right
Good
here.
answer.
Right
Cheese
here.
plate. What else?
Stuffing.
Yes. Underrated.
You know, my mother-in-law, she's not doing it this year, but she makes these really amazing Brussels sprouts. It's kind of not really a traditional Thanksgiving dish, but they're really good.
Are they roasted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like in a big, like heavy pot. She
Mhm.
roasts in the oven. They're so good.
Oh man.
Is there turkey at your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, we'll have turkey.
Okay, you'll have turkey. Just
I'm
checking.
not a big fan of turkey. It's kind of
Turkey,
like
turkey's kind. Yeah, it is. It's just sort of like
it's like the one day a year I eat it.
The phone. This always
Jill's
happens for our
house, and every time we
Mom!
at her parents.
Mom, shut up.
You know what I had to do 5 minutes before this? I said, Dad, could you stop mowing the lawn? Like, I'm gonna have Landon Donovan on.
So yesterday we had these kids these young kids, and there's this 16-year-old, and he's there with his mom. And she's like asking embarrassing, and you could just see in his face this point. He's like,
it
Mom,
never
shut
ends.
up. You know, like it was
Parents.
awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
seriously.
you'll do that for your 3 kids.
I hope I have some awareness not to, but we'll see.
What dish do you skip at the table?
Good question.
We're getting it catered, so you don't have to pick anything that you don't want.
Well, my wife picked, so who knows?
Right.
I would probably skip. I'm not a gravy fan. Like, I might have a little bit of mashed potatoes, but just not really a gravy fan. What is gravy anyway? I don't even know what gravy is.
It's just it's
So really
Just
well, it's like the drippings from the drippings from the turkey, and then you
I think
add
it's
it?
some like flour. It's literally like grease, yeah,
with a little flour.
Yeah.
rice. I never even thought about that.
You know what it is? It is the thing that is supposed to cover up when the turkey is dry. Because more often than not, the darn turkey is dry, and so you douse it in gravy to like.
What even is gravy?
Right? What is gravy?
I'm gonna Google that. I want to know what gravy is. It's so gross.
Over it. Okay, do you have a kids table and an adult table, or is it just one big table?
Well, because of the uniqueness of 2020, so we have my wife and I. It's at like we have a 6 or 8 person table. My wife and I and my sister-in-law and her husband at opposite ends. There's a kids table outside. With their 2 kids and our 3 kids, and then my in-laws are going to be by themselves at a table, and my other sister and brother-in-law themselves at a table.
The beauty, we were just talking about this, the beauty of living in Southern California.
Yeah, it's all outside too.
Oh, we're losing that right now.
So jelly.
It got real cold. Eating.
It got real cold here.
That's right.
If we are living in a non-COVID world, who are 3 non-family members you're inviting from the sports world or beyond?
You two. I would invite. That's a really.
Would
good
you
question.
share your cheese plate with me?
So yes, I would. I only like hard cheeses though. I don't like those soft, mushy ones.
Okay.
Blech. My wife does. It's so gross. So I can invite anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to invite Barack Obama.
Good
He's such a
answer.
legend.
God, what a ledge.
Who else would I want to invite? Well, my mom. Probably my mom and my sister.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Barack,
and
mom,
sis.
and sister.
Love it.
That's
Yeah. I mean, how can you go wrong with that?
No, you cannot go wrong. That's a perfect. I think that's a perfect answer.
We love that.
Okay, one final one. Let's get real cheesy and sappy.
Uh-oh.
Landon, what are you most thankful for?
I was waiting
in
for that
2020?
question. Well, I would say everything's relative, right? So this has not been an easy year by any stretch of the imagination. And then I look around and we live in a beautiful home in Southern California. I literally have my dream job. I have a beautiful wife and family. And then, every day there are people literally dying all over the world. So, some perspective is always important. Try to keep that in mind all the time. So I'm grateful for all of that.
Well
Well, we're
said.
grateful for you. We're grateful that you came on here for us today. This has been hard year. It's been a hard week.
Yeah.
So this was our bonus, our plus for sure. So Landon Donovan,
Thank you.
and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Landon. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate you guys. You're doing a great job. Happy Thanksgiving.
Jill, did that just happen? Did we really? Did we really just talk to Landon Donovan about Thanksgiving and
It did.
life and all sorts of things? Wow.
Yes. Yep.
Wow. That was awesome. I feel like this is a benchmark moment for us.
Yes.
100%. And I loved I loved what he said at the end and what he's thankful for, because I feel like that is just exactly the type of mentality that we all need to be having as we approach the holiday season in 2020, because there really is a lot to be thankful for. So what are we thankful for, Jill? What are you thankful for?
Oh God, yeah. So in a year where you haven't had any distractions of not really buying, well, some crazy purchases, didn't really go anywhere. So I had this trip. I'm so thankful for the people in my life. Yeah. First and foremost, you. Really. I mean, how many times do I call you a week to talk me off the ledge? Work related and not.
This is reciprocal.
Work related and not. And I think, Landon said it a little bit, but I think for all of us, I'm not unique when I say that the people, because this is a year where we've had nothing but the people in our lives. And I'm really thankful for the people in our lives. And I'm thankful that we're still getting to do this podcast.
Me too. Amen. That is absolutely, I share those sentiments 1000%. And I think, on top of, my incredible family, my wonderful friends, being employed, having a place to live, like all of those things are so important. Do you know what I'm thankful for? I thought a lot about this. I am thankful for the feeling of hope. I'm thankful for being hopeful, because I do feel like things are going to get better. And that feeling of hope is so important. And, it's something that I try to kind of put in the forefront of every single day, and just putting one foot in front of the other, knowing that we are working towards getting to a better place. And so I am very, very thankful to have that feeling of hope in my heart.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And thank you for putting that out there, because you know what? It's hard to look ahead, right?
Yeah,
it's been a day by day situation for so long, but
it is.
But you're reminding me of the light at the tunnel, and we've seen that on a bunch of things. So
yeah.
I thank you for that.
Oh, of course. We sourced some of our Twitter peeps, what they were thankful for. So Jill, let's share what some of our listeners and viewers had to say that they're thankful for.
Los Verdes, thankful to watch Austin FC next year.
Los Verdes are one of the supporters groups for Austin FC. So we are excited too. Believe you me, that is going to be great. Also, did you see their kits, the kit reveal? The Verde kits. Oh, hey, I mean, I'm not one to beg for swag, but hey, Austin FC, if you want to send some jerseys our way.
I'm very thankful.
Same.
I'm very thankful that the Houston Dash and the Houston Dynamo sent us some swag for their rebrand.
Yep, they sure did.
Which is just very exciting.
I
And
love that look on you, by the way.
you are
I
such a
feel
liar.
like it's very like 70s chic.
You know I did. You know I dig like 70s, 60s.
Oh, that is like I kind of like, you know what it is? It just like makes your eyes pop too. It's just like frames your face and then the orange. Yeah, I'm into it.
I look like a chef.
No,
which
you
ain't
look
nothing.
fabulous. You look fabulous. Yes, thank you, Houston Dynamo and Dash, for sending us the gear. We love it. Samantha Chapman, love big Minnesota United supporter there. She is thankful for the amazing staff that she works with at Allianz Field.
That's
There's,
nice.
you know why? Because people in Minnesota are nice.
Minnesota nice, sis.
Yep.
It's a real
Midwest,
thing.
baby. Midwest, baby.
Mr. Brightside, great name. Love that song. Thankful. He's thankful for his wife, Lauren, and the support she provides their family.
Thank you, Mr. Brightside, for sharing that. We love your wife, Lauren, as well. Oh, and Casey Kobakoff from Minnesota as well. Oh, she is just an absolute gem. She is thankful for friends, family, and colleagues throughout these times. Well said,
I'll echo
Casey.
that. We're thankful to our crew here.
We're thankful for
Galina
you.
Platova, thank you for
Galina,
saving our life
Carlos.
every single episode.
Oh gosh.
On the rails.
And you know what? I'm gonna give a shout out to Chris Karen, who was sort of steering us in the ship in all of our MLSsoccer.com content. Sadly, part of the layoffs that happened, but he's gonna do amazingly well whatever comes next for him. But we miss him terribly, and he's a big part of the success of this podcast. So we love you, Chris. We love you, Chris. That's it, man.
Happy freaking Thanksgiving.
God. Happy freaking Thanksgiving, everybody. We hope you, whatever that looks like for you this year,
be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Keep that hope and thankfulness in your heart. And yeah, we appreciate you listening, watching, all of the above. Love you guys. Love you, Jill. Mwah.
Love you, Tao.